And welcome to Unapologetic Geek Out, the UGO podcast. Travis,
Yeah.
what is going on, buddy? It is a special day today. We are talking movies with Les today.
Oh.
You know how I love that.
I thought he lost privileges after last time.
God, I gotta tell you.
I'll be honest,
Pretty
I have
sure.
not heard the Six String Samurai review, and I am so sad that I did not get to be there to laugh at what I'm sure was
Well, Les, we did record a commentary for it.
the best
as
feral
we-
child since Shane.
Yeah, well, in the words of said child,
I know, man, it's worse than Mad Max. It's so great. He's the worst feral child ever. I've seen the Red
Well,
Elvises live a couple times, too.
You have to listen to the commentary because you can tell exactly in the commentary when Patience dies and where we all collectively give up.
There's a moment where the windmill people show up in astronaut costumes, and Patience literally goes out loud, "I fucking hate Les." It was pretty special. But yes, that's Les on the mic there. And of course, he's torturing me, Nick the Merc with a mic, and of course Travis the God of the Pod.
Only one man can like this many bad movies. Bring his microphone to me.
Today we are talking about another Les pick, Seven in Heaven, that we were talking about on Netflix and Kill. And boy, am I going to be interested in talking to Les about that, because I'm actually legitimately confused as to what I just watched. So,
Yeah, I think I should establish a rule whereby I don't message you anything about a movie until 30 minutes after the credits have rolled.
right.
Because
Right.
so many movies have a brilliantly ambitious first act and are better acted than you expect for the budget, but then they don't stick the landing. Like, you know, either like in a Final Destination, oh my God, what the hell happened when you hit the mat? Or just a mediocre, like, gave it up and walked away. But yeah, Seven in Heaven, we'll talk about it, but like, I liked parts of it so much more than I expected to, but did not stick landing.
One would say that somehow it didn't land at all.
Yes,
But
yes.
It just kind of floated off into the distance.
Which was unexpected.
which is interesting in and of itself, because I didn't even know a movie could do that.
Yeah.
So,
Like, and the credits play. Wait, the movie's done?
wait, what's going on? What?
I don't think you saw shit. Like, I think,
It's like
your,
if a-
your answer
it's like
actually
if a
confused
pole-
me more.
It's like if a pole vaulter went up into the air and instead went underneath subterranean and went into the ground.
Or they just they went up and they never came back down. We're like,
hey, wait, whoa,
that
hey,
legal?
where'd
Can
they
they
go?
do-
Hey,
can
what's
they do
happening?
that?
What?
Yeah, it was a very
do we
cheaty from
just
the
go
Good
home?
Place moment of like, does that explanation help? No, that makes it so much worse.
Oh, it's very Jeremy Bearimy.
I saw the time knife.
I saw the time knife. And yeah, we talked about, speaking of time knife, we also saw Russian Doll, and I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit too.
Okay.
Indeed.
And of course, just the regular shenanigans. So before we get started with that, Les, what's going on, buddy? How have you been?
I have been pretty well. Yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks. I'm about to go visit my dad again in Northeast Texas. So if I end up recording something with you, it's because I'm bored in Marshall.
Great.
Yeah, it's a great reason to watch some TV. I'll get caught up on all this TV outside of my normal outrageous amount of TV watching.
I was going to say we should talk about the Game of Thrones trailer, but then I remembered Les doesn't watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so tell me of this throne game.
Well,
I just started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I'm still mad that not a single person
Dude.
ever mentioned that to me. Not once.
So,
not a single one of you.
We're going to talk about this right now, because
You've been holding out on me, Nick. Why have you never once mentioned?
I'm pretty sure we've told you multiple times.
Not
to
a
watch
single
Brooklyn
time.
Nine-Nine.
Not once.
Okay. So I get this Facebook post from Les, and it was like that. It's like, oh man, I'm watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he sends me, and he links in Randy, and I think was Grant in there too.
Yes,
I forget. And so like it's just this Facebook message group like, hey, why didn't no one tell me about this Brooklyn Nine-Nine show? And I know you sent it to piss me off. And yet
it worked.
It totally worked.
I just wanted to see
I was
if like I could hear
this
the
son
when
of
your
a
head burst
bitch.
all the way from Wisconsin.
Like, for whatever reason, I was legit mad at you. Like, I was like, you asshole. And
yeah, I think I also asked Randy, like, okay, all right, so now, is there some kind of sword and sorcery thing that no one's telling me about?
Yes,
And-
you
and
did
they
send
both
that too.
were all
Like, man, now I
"Meh."
just wish I could follow this up with some sword and sorcery thing that was down to earth and realistic or something like that. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you, Les.
Is that where you're looking at ticket flights to Texas the other day?
I'm gonna fly down there and kick your goddamn ass. But you have been enjoying Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so that's cool.
Indeed.
You've
Well, it's because
you-
no one could possibly watch that show and not enjoy it. It's
oh,
amazing.
sure.
Title of my
I assume
sex
you're
tape.
watching it on Hulu then, right?
No one could possibly watch that show and not enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Title of my
You-
sex tape.
It's title of your sex tape.
Did I do
Great.
it right? Did I get that one right? Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
no,
that's-
I was
no, it's
actually
good.
I was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine when you messaged me a few minutes ago. Ready when you are. So
That's great.
your,
How
your
far along are you?
advocacy. I've watched all of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I watched it in like a 15-minute break. Like, no, I mean, I seriously though, I've binged through the entire show in the last few weeks. I've caught entirely up on 6, or I guess 5 seasons and 4 or 5 episodes now. Yeah, I've watched a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine in a very short amount of time.
Okay, well, this is the point where usually I would go like, what's been going on with me and Travis? I will let Travis go first since I have a kind of a personal thing that I need to get off my chest, and it's
boy.
going to be a little bit of a bummer. So I'll let Travis go first.
Well, we got Anthem,
Anthem, yes,
and it's been very. Bleh.
it's okay.
It's fine.
I mean,
Did
fine.
it brick your
It's-
PS4?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the best version of like those. What do you call them?
Loot
like
box.
yeah, loot
drop
box
games.
collector games, which I'm not really a big fan of. But this is probably like one of the better ones I've played. But it's a better version of a game that I'm not a super big fan of.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. Like I don't know. I'll play a little bit more of it. I don't know. I wasn't blown away.
Well, apparently, it's been blowing away a few PS4s because apparently they have a problem that keeps bricking PS4s.
Oh sure, mine crashed.
Yeah.
I think yours crashed at least once.
yeah,
right?
but it's like
I really
people are
thought-
like
I
having
didn't
theirs
think y'all were
crash and then they
serious.
can't turn them back on.
Really did crash shells. Wow.
yeah,
But yeah, I
which
read
is
some
weird
kind
because
of horror story article about it. Yeah, truly breaking somebody's, but I didn't.
or no, not like it. Mine crashed. It didn't like break it or anything, but like still, like it's been a rare since I've had a game freeze up on me or crash or anything.
Right.
That wasn't made by Bethesda.
But they're made to be that way. You expect it.
That's a feature.
So yeah, I basically thought the same thing as you. Where I'm like, man, I wish I could just play a better version of this game. I'll go play Borderlands again instead.
Yeah, Borderlands is basically like the best version of that game.
So I went and downloaded Borderlands, the Handsome Jack collection. I've been playing.
Yeah.
I'm playing through Borderlands 2 because I'd started a commando character, or Axton, whatever his name is. I'm like, I'm gonna play through as this instead.
Woo, Butt Stallion.
But Stallion.
Love it. Okay, so anything else?
We watched Umbrella Academy.
Yes, that's right. I was actually going to save that for a Netflix and kill at some point
okay.
too.
oh yeah,
but-
I enjoyed the hell out of that. That was fun.
I really liked that.
More than I
found it-
expected to.
Yes, I thought like for a show that usually they make a bunch of changes to the comic, I thought like, hey, for a TV show, this more or less works. A lot of this really works. I'll tell you what I do love: Hazel.
Hazel and Cha Cha are really interesting characters.
Dude, I love Hazel so much.
Oh,
like,
man, yeah.
I'm gonna be super sad if he isn't in season 2. Like, I'm gonna be super sad about it. Really.
Did you watched Mindhunter, right?
Yes, he's
So
what's
he's
his
Ed.
name?
Yeah.
Yes, he's Ed from Mindhunter.
And it's
I
the
was like,
same. It's the same likable, threatening.
His
that
voice is like, he just like this, and
Yeah, but also just vicious,
That's a-
like cold-blooded. Yeah, most likable
that's a
cold-blooded guy.
red-breasted warbler.
man,
if,
yeah.
if you find one, you find its pair. And, like, he's just got a weird
Yeah.
little way of talking.
No, he makes him just magnetic on screen. I'm really done. A perfect character for that actor.
I love that guy.
Yeah,
I
I generationally, just my age, I cold missed, God, My Chemical Romance as a band. Totally.
yeah.
Like, they did not exist. Like, I found out after they were, like, big for a lot of people that, like, that's what that t-shirt is. I had no idea. And, so I didn't care about this comic. Like, it wasn't a special thing when Umbrella Academy, like, first came out as a comic. I didn't follow it. And then as the show progressed, like, the production of the show progressed, I didn't really realize how big a chip on my shoulder I had of, like, fuck this stupid new X-Men bullshit. And and then, like, my wife watched the first 2 episodes, and then she was like, I'll rewatch them both right now if you want to start watching it. And I think we watched it in, like, a day and a half, like, straight through Umbrella Academy. And sat down at the end and went, nope, that was just a chip on my shoulder. this was super cool. Like,
Yeah,
I love number 5 a lot.
it's really if you read a lot of X-Men comics and then every once in a while like Xavier kind of comes off as an asshole to you.
Yeah.
If you watch this, you're gonna go like, oh, never mind.
But it didn't-
This guy.
Yeah, but it didn't
is-
fall into the trap of being like a Frank Miller dark, like, let's just grimdark the shit out of it.
It's not it's not Titans.
Yeah, yeah. Which I found stuff to love about Titans, but this didn't go down that path. Like, this walked a beautiful weirdness that, honestly, closer to Doom Patrol for me.
Well, they don't say fuck every other sentence. They do swear.
yeah.
But it's
But
like,
it's like unnatural swearing.
Yeah, but I found so much
you know
to love
who else
in
I love in that show? I love the kid actor that plays Five. He is
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty damn good.
Absolutely.
Man.
But 5 was my linchpin character for the show. Like,
No,
I know it's
great.
Ellen Page's
An 80-year-old man
vehicle,
trapped
but,
in a kid's body. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
And I
also
was always
time
a
travel,
sucker
and
for-
we know how Les
yeah.
loves that.
Well, and I'm always a sucker for Tommy from Third Rock. Way back in the day, you know, I love the trope of, same in Travelers. I love the trope of old man in the young, like, super zen old man in the punk teenager
Yeah.
body. Like, I
It's
love
just
that play.
crotchety.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. What was less fun is some stuff that I'm going through right now, which is I felt it was probably proper to address it since the podcasts have been coming out later. They've been there's been delays on a lot of them, and the reason for that is that I am currently on or currently experimenting with some certain medications for antidepressants, and they are making me feel real weird. Depending on the medication, I am so tired all the time. And yes, like they really fuck with your brain because that's what they're supposed to do.
That is the whole point.
Yep.
And yesterday I shit so hard my balls hurt. Explain to me how that works.
Well, that's not your brain, so that's actually something a little worrisome.
I
Yeah.
don't like that, so
Yeah,
I'm
that's
thinking about
uncomfortable.
changing meds again. So I don't want to get it too much into it, but like it's got to a point where last couple months I have gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I can't basically do this by myself. I'm going to need some help, either of the therapy variety or the chemical variety, and now I'm doing both. So like that's why, especially, and also I have overtime at work, so I've just
You've been having a lot of overtime lately too.
yeah, and so I've had like that's why there'll be like just days of like, yeah, I know I'm supposed to edit on the podcast today, but I can't. I got to go sleep for like an 8 hours actually. For me, I only usually get like 5 to 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, maybe that's also a problem. You never think of that one.
I have no idea. At least the doctor I was talking to says that it doesn't like sleep patterns are always a little bit weird, and the meds some of the meds I'm on act as a sedative. Some of them are cause mood swings. So like that's been a little bit of a struggle for me to try and deal with. So, and the only reason I bring it up is because I know that at some point, like, there's just going to be a week where no episodes go up, and what's happening there is that I am indisposed, basically. I'm not feeling great, and that's where my mind's at. So if anyone's thinking of like, hey, where are the episodes, or why are they going up on Thursday rather than Wednesday or something, that's what's going on. But on a lighter note, since I have no idea how to transition away from that.
Segue!
Hey, Nick, I am also on antidepressants and in therapy, so thanks for talking openly about it and not making it a secret thing that you're going through shit, man.
Well, thank you. I've gotten to the point now where I'm opening up to. I had just started to open up to friends about it, and then family.
And now the whole internet must know.
Well, I mean, it's gotten to the point now where it's like, I don't know, before I was managing, and and there's a little, like, you start to feel a little bit of ashamed, like, oh, I feel weak, or whatever. But then, I got to the point where I'm like, you know what, it's just something chemically wrong in my brain that I'm trying to figure out.
You're missing like 2 little small things in your brain, and it's fucking you up.
And
so,
every single person listening has something going on. I mean, I'm sitting right here behind schedule, like radically behind schedule on The Good Die Young for the exact same reasons and working through it. It's good to talk about it and not, it doesn't get better hiding it. Like, that's its own set of tiresome bullshit. So
Yeah.
good for bringing it up, man, and you'll get through it.
It's kind of the most annoying thing about depression. It's like most of these, like, well, if your leg's cut off, you're gonna go fucking do something about your leg. Depression
Right.
literally makes it so, like, I don't want to do anything, including doing something about this thing that makes me not want to do anything. Like,
Yeah.
well, fuck you,
Here's an extra loop. Why don't we run you in this circle instead? Yeah.
right?
The cool thing about it was that I guess I was struggling for a while, and it just got bad enough to the point where I realized I had a problem. And that point was when I was driving and I saw a semi truck, and I thought to myself, that semi truck's pretty reinforced, and I bet you if I rammed into it, it would just kill me and not the driver.
I mean, you're technically correct.
Yep.
And I was like, and then right after that, as the semi truck passed, I was like, uh-oh, that was not great. Why did I think that?
Yeah. Yeah.
then that
Why
led
don't I
to
just
a
let go of the
self-
wheel in traffic? No, wait, that would hurt other people is not a great reason to not be doing that plan. Like, that's not enough of a solid backstop. But I've been
Right,
there.
and
I've been there.
That was like the sort of reasoning of like, uh-oh, this is not good. I need to go do something about this because that was not a good thought to have. And
if you ever start to think yourself that's like, I don't want to die, I just don't want to exist, you have depression.
that's it.
Yes.
To
Yeah.
Also, too. And I
People,
was talking with some other people,
weirdly
too, of
stop
like how
making
this...
long-term plans with you.
Yeah.
They can feel
And
it.
also, like, that's why I've been, and also, like, I've been much less of, like, ahead of schedule of, like, hey, do you guys want to record tomorrow? Or today or something, is because I don't know when I'm going to feel up to recording
Yeah.
or editing or something like that. So that's why a lot of stuff has gone on the back burner and very procrastinated because, like, sure, I can schedule something for next Thursday, but I don't know if I'm going to be feeling up to next Thursday or if I'm going to need a nap for, like, 10 hours.
Yeah.
And so that sucks. Also, these meds are, like, some of them are cool and get rid of anxiety. Some of them are
Anxiety in a bottle.
interesting in what they do to you. One I was on that was some sort of sexual stimulant in which my nipples hurt unbelievably throughout an entire shift of work, and I had an erection that would come and go.
That was TMI, actually.
Wow, I think the only sexual side effect one I've ever had was an antidepressant that just, like, robot level eliminated sex thought from Lesbot. And that was fucking creepy. And, like, a coworker called me out for, like, why I was so just robot. And I was like, I don't know, it was just weird. Like, it was affecting me. I was very gray bleh in all aspects when I was on it, but it also, like, I kind of realized, like, oh wow, I'm operating like completely asexual. Like, that's not my style.
Right.
Like, that's not how I've not been ace at any point in my life. Like, it was weird. And yeah, it's really odd sometimes what the other, like, oh, that string's attached to the depression. Oh, can't pull that direction.
Yeah, so in a lot of what I feel comfortable with usually is a routine, similar stuff, feeling very in control and very level. So this out of control stuff has been fucking weird and just kind of ugh. So that's where I'm at.
Well, also the fucking negative 20-degree weather in March we're having is probably not helpful.
Oh my god.
Because sunlight is good for you and is actually important for the body. And
Hey,
Yeah,
Nick, Travis got super quiet for me. Is he away from Mike or?
I don't know. Travis, did you knock your mic out?
let me see.
Yeah, I think you might have knocked your mic out.
Testing.
Okay,
Am I
cool.
on
You're
now?
back. You're back.
Yeah.
Mine's got a loose cord.
Oh, but yeah, anyway, thanks for the support, Les, and
Yeah.
thank you guys for, everyone listening, for being understanding and patient with me as I go through this, and hopefully we can come out the other side of this thing. Expect less, like, convention coverage and stuff like that, as I've not planned on doing a lot of those, because they're just...
Very taxing.
They're a lot.
Energy is, like, my energy level is not where it needs to be to do a whole weekend of that. So there's that. Oh, but I'll tell you what it does put me in the mood for: a bunch of Netflix stuff. And so we watched Russian Doll. But you know what I was watching is that they put a bunch of James Bond movies on
Yes,
Netflix.
you've been watching a lot of those.
And so I've been watching a lot of those. Les, are you a fan of James Bond?
I am. I don't often go back and rewatch some of the old ones. I'm kind of hit or miss on which ones I have enough nostalgia for to overcome what are some very, like, oh, this is of an age.
Yes,
moment.
like that's what I discovered. Go back and rewatching them is that a lot of them. It's weird. Some of them hold up better than I thought, and then some of them do not.
Well, and like as stupid as I think Shatterhand is as a working title for a movie, somebody was like, "Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what the working title was for Octopussy, but they'll get there." I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
touche.
I did like, and that led me to so I rewatched GoldenEye, which was pretty good.
No, that was
GoldenEye
a real great return. Like, I remember seeing that in the theater and being like, "Damn, return to form." It's a little overlong for me now, but I really dug it.
Well, there's like it even has one of the better Bond girls in the Russian agent, Russian hacker that he hooks up with. That like is kind of a badass in her own right with her hacking skills, and like takes is very take charge in her role. But then of course you also get Famke Janssen as Agent Onatopp, which like they can't all be winners. But
Yeah.
you know what I love about Onatopp is that she was actually way too weird sexually for James Bond.
Yeah.
Of like where she was trying to crush him with her thighs. Like, okay, wait, lady, no means no. All right, like.
So you do understand consent, Mr. Bond.
It was the
time
only
for
time where I've
everything.
seen Bond not be into like, okay, this is weird for me.
So what's it like for others?
and I watched like Casino Royale. I've basically watched some from almost every era.
Have you seen the documentary about Lazenby?
I have not, but I heard it's very interesting.
It is really cool. Like, it will make you want to go back and rewatch his one, and kind of in a different light. Like, it's really fun. He's still not my favorite Bond, but you see what he's going for, and it's really interesting and fun. Like, they were really trying to breathe some life into it. And
Right.
for me, I really liked the Tim Dalton ones, like the two Timothy Dalton ones when I was a kid, like when they came out, and but they were so universally like immediately not. I don't know. They didn't seem taken well. Like as a kid, it was always like, "He's okay, Bond," but I didn't really want to like shout out like, "No, those were separate from James Bond. Those were interesting spy thrillers to me. Like they transcended just the franchise. Like I could dig these movies not because they were part of this set, but if I just saw those stand alone, that'd be a pretty cool spy flick."
Right.
It's a little weird to watch 80s, I don't know, 80s South American drug dealer is a little 80s dated for me.
Like even the best Sean Connery Bonds, you have to like willingly just kind of accept certain things in it.
Yeah.
Like Pussy Galore,
Yeah.
which like okay. and even in Dr. No, like there's that whole scene of him just fucking the other agent, and like where she's fucking him to keep him there so that these two guys can follow them, but it's like, oh yeah, they're not actually showing up. I just fucked you because I was bored. Like,
Did you ever watch any of the pre-Austin Powers Bond spinoff stuff like In Like Flint or Our Man Flint, where James Coburn plays basically like a super Bond?
no, I actually have not. I've heard they're pretty good though.
They're pretty silly. Like they're very 60s, but I think you'd dig them if you enjoy laughing at all at some of the Bond silliness.
Oh, you know what I did watch that really did not hold up was A View to a Kill, which has got to be like probably one of the worst Bond movies.
Yeah.
Roger Moore is so
that's Moore,
old
yeah.
in it.
And I think that's the first Moore one somehow that I saw, and I think it tarnished. I mean, beyond him being a lot of people's least favorite Bond, it tarnished him immediately for me.
He's like 70 years old, hooking up with like 25 to 30-year-old girls,
Ugh.
and it's like,
So it's like Entrapment with Connery.
yeah, it's like Entrapment, and it's. And of course, there's Christopher Walken is the villain in it, and it's like, I love how they say like, oh, he speaks 7 languages without an accent, and I'm like,
There's speak one.
there's definitely an accent.
That is hilarious.
I want to hear Christopher Walken read audiobooks in Japanese now so bad.
Konnichiwa.
I
Hello.
cannot imagine what his pacing would and diction would do to that shit.
Konnichiwa. Kenichi. Like,
Literally, he can't even speak English. For
Arigato.
man. I hope he. I mean, obviously, I don't know Christopher Walken personally, but I hope he gets on some kind of like, let's learn new things tear, and like, I want him to pick up like speaking Thai or something just
Oh god,
just stunning, and then do a whole movie in it.
just Christopher Walken doing a whole Korean movie.
Oh
That
man, I would
is-
watch the hell out of that. The Bay 2, starring Christopher Walken.
Also, it has one of the most egregious like title drops in it too, of where they always mention the title. You know, like you know, the world is not enough, or
Yeah.
the gold members actually,
Get
or
the
the man with the
titular line
golden
in this
gun.
movie.
And this one is like, what a view! Like, 'cause she's looking at like Mayday is looking at the San Francisco skyline from their blimp, which of course is like, oh yeah, they're villains, so they have a fucking blimp.
Well, of course.
and then of course she's like, what a view! And then Christopher Walken comes up, to a kill. And I'm
Will
like,
you never tire of these Star Wars?
I was just like, what does that mean?
Don't know.
View to a kill? What? What is he talking about?
Right? Who says that? Like, you're clearly the villain because you were speaking in nonsensically threatening. Like, even your non sequiturs are vaguely threatening.
But yeah, like I was struggling. I'm like, man, I don't really know which one's my favorite James Bond movie because they're all kind of problematic. Like, they're all kind of, like, I guess GoldenEye is the best one that still feels kind of like a James Bond movie to me. Like, 'cause the reboots with Daniel Craig are fun, but they feel more Jason Bourne to me than James
Right.
Bond. I don't know.
That's
think
kind
I
of problem
liked-
with those kind of movies that they so much, since it was the one that always set the standard before, that as soon as more other things come out that are more popular, it kind of has to follow them.
Yeah.
I really dug Casino, but I think it really owed to me loving Jeffrey Wright in pretty much anything. And so
Right.
him getting to be the American agent was just absolutely great.
A brother from Langley. I loved him in that. Also,
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen in a very early role.
Oh,
Very
that's
cool.
right.
But yeah, we also watched some other stuff on Netflix. What should we talk about first, do you think? The Seven in Heaven or Russian Doll?
Let's get
Seven in
that
Heaven
last
done.
picked out of the way.
Okay, yeah, so...
So,
So-
like, as a preface, like everybody has the occasional movie that for whatever reason the Netflix algorithm has decided that you've watched enough stuff similar and their production company threw enough money down, I assume. I don't really know how Netflix works. But Seven in Heaven got suggested to me. It seemed like so many times. Their title card is kind of striking looking, so it also kind of hung in my memory. But I just kept looking at it going, I mean, you've got my number, Netflix, like parallel worlds and it, like that, like basically somebody throws the Project X party and playing the 7 Minutes in Heaven stupid party game, the kids vanish into a parallel world. I'm like, you know what? I mean, on paper, it's sold. And I kind of assume there's a lot of times that I start stuff and like the wrong indie production company's title card comes up and I kind of know the camera production level of you know how home
Always keep an
video
eye out
this is
for
going to
Platinum
look.
Dunes.
Yeah, like
Michael
how
Bay's
how
company.
home video is this going to look? Like, is there even going to be enough money thrown at this for me to feel good about all the casting? And I was really surprised at how much I liked the kid actors because these are, I mean, kid actors. They're probably in their 20s, but the people playing high schoolers. And it started to work for me. It's got Gary Cole in it, which he's one of my favorite campy actors. He turns, I always like what Gary Cole does, but he often turns up in like a kind of campier USA Chuck kind of show. And I don't know, I think around the time we were discussing this earlier, I'm going to impose a rule where I don't tell Nick I'm excited about anything until the third act has had about 15 minutes to sit. Because I really dug the first act, like almost to the end of the second act of Seven in Heaven. It wasn't really until the third that I went, oh, y'all are going to commit to the threads I don't like. And then they didn't even really stick that landing. I feel like they lost the thread of what was interesting about their movie for me. Because the setup of the kids vanishing and coming out in like the mirror universe basically was cool. I understood why they needed basically Gary Cole's guidance counselor. Like they wanted a linchpin character. It was unnecessary to me, and it confused the rules of the universe.
Yeah.
And since they then could never explain him, it was instrumental in the third act not landing. But what I didn't expect, and I think why I messaged Nick, was the kids who were still at the party and trying to figure out where these other kids vanished to. I somehow didn't really expect that to be that interesting to me, and watching them go through this weird siege with the cops and the parents, and like the one kid who turns around and like, I've got an older brother, listen to me. No one can leave, and like two kids leave and like they get arrested. Like, that is why no one can leave.
No one leaves.
And like all the things he's saying are dead on. Like I've seen people do that. Like I've watched cops sit outside a house and like try to ticket cars to make somebody come outside. Like, it's my parents' car though. Like, dude, if you go outside, you will be arrested.
You're gonna get taken. Yeah, you're gonna get taken to the station. You're gonna have the parents call. Your parents are gonna get called.
Yeah,
and you're
there
gonna get
might
fucked
be
up.
a narrow way out of this, but you've got to hang tight. And like watching them try to herd these cats and like keep this group of kids chill while not being able to explain the missing kids, I thought was real interesting. And I don't know. So did that first like. Did the premise work for you? And I'm sure it lost everybody at some point. There's a reason why only the Netflix algorithm has ever told me about this movie. But like, I've never had a friend recommend this movie to me. But
okay, so the
what happened with
first
y'all?
act, like, well, the setup to the 7 Minutes in Heaven in the Closet is interesting. And it's very intriguing as to like, oh man, what is going on? Like, it must be this other world that they're entering.
And there's always kind of like an inherent curiosity and kind of things like this. Like, what are the rules? How are we going to figure them out?
If nothing else, even if I hate the characters, I want to know the math on it.
Me and Les have this in common of, I think, I shouldn't speak for Les, but like, I love knowing figuring out the rules to a new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, this is a parallelism. Like, how did they get here? Like, it must have to do with the cards, right? Like, cause he had a card, and like, they even say it's like a passport later. I'm like,
right, it's
okay.
got his mom on it.
Yeah, I'm like, so maybe it's like, if you have a different card, it takes you to a different universe based on the card. What's like, and I'm like, running through theories in my head, like, what's going on? Like, what's different in this world based off of what's different in the, the previous world? Is it reflective of their personalities? Like, is he seems like he's murdered someone in this world, so like, is he kind of a dick? Like, and, and then, the girl, like, ends up having a contentious relationship with her sister to the point where, like, she tries to smother
But
her.
in Bizarro World, it's real contentious. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I'm like, ooh, like, this is good. Is this reflective of the other world, or is this just a random happens? Is there a singular event that made everything different? Because, there's people alive in this world that are dead in the other.
Alive in the alternate world, but he's dead in his universe.
Classic alternate reality shit. You know what I mean?
When he runs into his best friend and like, are we friends? And the kid looks like, no.
Like, no, we were never friends.
Like, we didn't used to be friends, but had a fight. No, man, I don't know you. Like,
but
like,
he comes off really creepy though, because like the main character's murdered someone in this universe.
Yeah.
He's like, I've always been your friend, and the main character, like, his eyes are always as if he's seeing a horror movie. Like, his eyes are always so bug-eyed.
Yeah, he looks
like every single
he
scene.
looks like Miles Teller on ecstasy. Like he has this like utterly shocked.
A really high Miles Teller. That's pretty good.
And so, like, the one scene where he's like, we've always been friends. And I'm like, you're
not helping your case at all, brother.
Stranger danger.
Like,
Right? Yeah.
And so, I gotta tell you, Les, I was like, yeah, okay. And I'm sure, like, once, whatever the answer is here, and, they have the principal come in, and he's like a guardian.
yeah, he's like
He's
a
the
time
guidance
cop or
counselor.
something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, so there is rules to this. Like, there's like some sort of rules to this universe, and they're like, they have a strict window to get out, and they gotta get out on this one, otherwise they're gonna get screwed. I'll tell you, and then that third act happens, and
Where they're like, oh, they're going back into the closet 'cause that's the answer to everything.
Right.
And then they do leave that universe, and then literally what I said is like, oh, I figured out like halfway through the movie. There was the deck of cards they had was a deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and they're in the Shadow Realm now.
they're in the Shadow Realm.
And as far as I can tell, I was right.
Right. Yeah, because they started systematically
honestly,
making things have emotional weight, but not apply to the rules anymore. So like suddenly the card's passport had no mechanics behind it. Like, I do not understand how that got them in and out. And
Yeah.
and like, but they turned it into like a meaningful thing between the parents. But then it's they started to kind of sew it up emotionally and try to go for these character moments, but you have too much machinery in this kind of plot. I wanted at the very least to have guessed wrong and been like, well, that to me is a lame way to do those rules, but and it'd be like an unsatisfying ghost story or something. But at least have to. What I didn't expect was for them to not sew up the rules at all and just kind of walk away from it. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I don't want to spoil too much of it in case you guys want to watch this movie, but the initial premise is like an alternate reality, but then in the third act, it becomes something completely different. Like it's almost a it's kind of like a psychological reflection of the people that are trapped in it, I guess.
And the other universe seems suddenly really aware that they are another universe and that there are multiple universes. Like, they all seem to know something about it. Like,
well, it's like they said something like, this is a universe where like negative thoughts go to, and like the negative thoughts took on personifications and realized that those people weren't negative thoughts. They had to kill them. I don't fucking know.
It was so weird because like during the alternate reality stuff, I felt like I was following it better, but then it like becomes some sort of psychological or emotional metaphor, and I lost the thread. I was like, I don't understand what is happening.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and
did he kill somebody? Did Derek get killed?
I have no, at the end of that movie, I'm not certain where the chips really fell as far as what's real. Like, at least Donnie Darko, I eventually could put together. A primer you can eventually put together. This felt more like Nick. Travis didn't get to be there with us for this one, but this felt more like Starfish.
Yeah, that does.
Which was a fantastic film that we watched that was stylistically gorgeous with a great soundtrack and a third act that got very emotionally heavy but lost the thread of its coherence. It got very meta and weird. Mm-hmm. And this doesn't get meta and weird. Like, it doesn't go like film school ambition on it, but it does just kind of abandon its original premise for what I'm sure they thought was a swing for the emotional fences. And it just kind of irritated me that I at least wanted to be wrong about the rules.
Right.
I wanted to feel like the rules mattered.
Well, I've never seen a movie where it like sets up so much, like the cards and like the alternate reality, the relationships between people.
Right.
Like,
all these fun toys on the table, and then to leave them laying there and not assemble them into something cool, I think irritated me more.
It's like watching a bunch of Chekhov's guns not go off. It's
right?
Kind of
but some of those guns look super interesting. I wanted to see that fire. Yeah. Like if we'd made it through Shaun of the Dead and they'd not pulled the Winchester.
It's like if the Shaun of the Dead, if none of that shit in the Winchester they talked about ever happened. Mm-hmm. Like, it's weird. Like,
yeah. I mean, but hey, you go to a mirror universe, and fucking Lundberg's there.
It was a very strange experience, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Super strange. Not as strange as Six String Samurai, but strange nonetheless.
Oh, wait till I get you to watch Wizard People, Dear Reader.
Nope. No. Unacceptable. I don't know what it is, but I don't want
it. We keep having to take... the thing I've realized is we keep having to take longer breaks when you pick movies.
Wizard People is a movie you've already seen. It is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
I feel like you are correct, Les, but yet I still don't trust you. Like...
It is literally Harry Potter. I mean, the movie is actually that movie, but with a commentary track like an audiobook, as if a drunk prospector who had not seen that movie was just telling you what was happening. Like, this man has clearly not read Harry Potter, so like, Hagar the Horrible and his perilous wizard friend, like, in this shaky drunk prospector voice for the whole thing.
Okay.
Snape is the ugliest woman to ever walk the earth. Like, it just it all like once he starts with it, like it just gets further and further off the rails. He did it live a few times, and that's what the thing I sent you was.
Wow.
It is
Unfortunately, I feel
truly
like I
stunning.
think the link has expired that you sent me, so there's no way to watch
It's
it.
weird. It comes to a 404 error. Sorry.
Yep.
There's going to be someday you're just going to walk into a room and like, oh hey Les, what's through here? And then they're just going to click lock behind you.
God damn it!
And like Jacob in Lost. It's just Clockwork
Sorry,
Orange
we know
style.
Texas. We're never going back there.
Well, the thing is, Les, we have to keep taking longer breaks in between your picks because we watched Story of Ricky, and I was like, okay, that was pretty fun, and we took a week, and then we watched
Wild Zero.
Wild Zero. Then we took a 2-week break, and then we watched Six String Samurai, and we needed like a straight like month after that. And now watching this one, I'm like, I don't know if I need a month, but I need some time. Like,
Yep. Eventually, I'm
just-
going to get you to watch Color of Pomegranates, and then you're just not going to watch movies for like 2 years. Oh wait, have you seen Holy Mountain?
I don't know.
It's
I have not seen Holy Mountain.
It's by Jodorowsky. It's by the guy that did El Topo
Oh.
and should have done Dune.
Then fuck that. No way. No way.
But have you ever seen a parade of crucified skint dogs?
No, I don't want to. I've tried to watch Dune on multiple occasions. That movie's impenetrable.
Well, that's Lynch, but Jodorowsky's Dune would have been worse.
Oh, that's right. Is Jodorowsky was the one that was going to make Dune, and it was like Lynch that actually made
Yes,
it.
and unlike I think famously was going to make Dune, having proudly never read the novel. And like, no, someone told me about it and it sounded cool. And like, fuck man, that's probably not a great way to go into Dune.
Oh boy. But speaking of random alternates like time realities, we also watched Russian Doll.
Ah, yes. Let's talk about something that I assume we liked. I enjoyed
I
Russian
liked
Doll.
Russian Doll a lot.
I did not
because
think
they
it
have
stuck
rules
the
and
ending
establish
as
them.
yeah. I did
I
not
was a
like
little
the
nervous
ending.
about a whole TV show of a Groundhog's Day thing.
Right.
But
Yeah.
they really do some interesting stuff with it, and Natasha Lyonne is
She's
is a very
magnetic.
good
She's absolutely amazing.
yeah, she's great in this. And then I think it takes a little too long to get to what's his name? Shit. The other guy that's trapped in there.
Yes. Alex, Adam, I can't think what his name is. But yeah,
The show is
the
the
kid.
show is interesting for the first couple episodes, but once it hits to him and it goes like, "Oh, I die all the time." Me too.
yeah.
I think their chemistry is great.
It is.
Though
like,
he was so OCD, did you not expect him to like? There's one morning where
was
he
gonna kill
misses the
himself,
fly in
right?
the sink, and I thought he's just going to kill himself and reset it.
Right. Like I thought like as soon as something was like as soon as things weren't going right, he was just going to reset it.
Mildly inconvenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
I mean,
it actually
just
turns
like
out
you would
later
do when
like
you're
that's a
trying to-
thing for him is that's what started this whole thing was him killing himself.
Was him killing himself. Yeah. So this, as I understand it, this is a 3-season deal already.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it had a second season. I didn't know it had a third one in the
And
plan.
it's at least 2, but I think it's a 3-season premise from the start. And so knowing that, I am now interested in what their plan is from where they left it, because I didn't expect it to end the way it did, and it left me feeling a little sadder about the ending. If that's just where it stops, that's not.
Yeah.
It would be fine, but it's
my only
melancholy
critique of
to
the
me.
show would be that they bring up some really interesting concepts that they don't fully explore.
yes,
Like, because they do a really cool thing where Natasha Lyonne is actually a really smart character. She's like a computer programmer, like a video game programmer.
Yeah, I think so.
And she starts talking about time as in a fourth dimension. And there are things that are like, it's not a straight like Groundhog's Day. It's like some sort of flaw in a system
Right, like there's a bug.
that there keeps trying to reboot, and things start to become different, and there's like less stuff, less people. Like
People start disappearing.
the fruit is both rotten and ripe at the same time.
yeah,
Or-
it starts to
and-
get this weird. You fucked with the Eye of Agamotto or whatever.
Right, and it's like then they start to bring up like oh, what if time is moving on in another dimension without us? Like, what are the ramifications of that?
Yeah,
Also,
what if
like-
this is like Langoliers?
Langoliers.
like, if she dies in one of them because her, like, basically adopted mom kills her, and it's like, what happens to her? Does she go on living knowing that she killed me?
Yeah, like is that's what's happening? Is there a time limit on this? Are we are we breaking down? Like, what are the rules here? Like,
Because like the
And I thought-
assumption is that you're looping back into the same universe, but what if it's a new each time? Like you've left each of those previous attempts as a functioning forward-moving universe or
Right.
something.
And the marketing of it was more like it was marketing it as a comedy. It's not quite that. It is funny,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
it's kind of more of a
Only because she has a darkly grim, realistic reaction to it. I mean, like the first 3 times she dies, I think she just thinks it's like she thinks it's ketamine for the first like 2.
yes. I've never done
Until
ketamine.
somebody's like, we did ketamine last year. Oh, well, shit. Then it can't be.
Right.
Okay.
I also love that like on one of the timelines too. She what was it? She gets a haircut from a homeless guy, and then like slays down to like take a nap with him or whatever,
Right.
and then freezes to death.
Yeah.
and she even wakes up out of that one and was like, Jesus, that one was dark. Like,
Yeah.
Like she's even looking back in on it, like, wow, that was fucked up.
like that,
She even
that
asked him,
was a
too.
dark one.
She's like, "Are you gonna kill me?" No. Oh, okay.
Okay.
I figured that's how the storyline ends. Sorry.
It really
That
threw me
was
off
a bummer.
it really threw me off that the other kid, Alan, that he kept doing his day. Like she
kept
was kind of
breaking up
trying
with
to
his girlfriend.
like she was kind of trying to solve what was happening or something or but she kept at least trying some different paths, but he kept like waiting to nail his day. Like in a really kind of made it really sad. Like, why are you continuing to go play your role in this shit?
Well,
Right.
it's because they're two different characters. 'Cause
Yeah.
When Natasha Lyonne has something, it's like, what in the universe is wrong? It's not me. What in this universe is broken? And he thinks, what did I do wrong?
Yep.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
he's just he kind
Exactly.
of is OCD. I almost feel like he had to go through with his day like that.
Yes.
Because it's
Sure. Also, it's
What he
also
knows.
there's the saddest characters. Their angst is directed. All his angst is directed inwards. All her angst is directed outwards. Like, and that's what makes
Good
them
point.
polar opposites. And that's what makes them so cool to bounce off of one another. And that's what's kind of the bug in the system is that they were supposed to meet. Like, I kind of like the idea that two people were supposed to be like were so meant to be friends that when it didn't happen, it broke
fucks-
something. It broke something in the universe.
right.
Yeah, like
Like-
your linchpin, life-changing people you were supposed to run into to make those kind of time points that Doctor Who talks about not being able to fuck with. That like if you do somehow miss one of those sliding doors style, it's too much off path and like
Like you almost
The
expect a
system
time
can't
cop
hang-
to come
yeah.
up and correct it,
Right. Like
Yeah.
you gotta fix this right now.
Or a legend from Legends of Tomorrow. Like you're an anomaly.
Exactly. Like this is too far off, and the system can't handle like Okay, when we said it was an open world that you could wander around, we didn't actually mean go behind that mountain, and like the game's not going to make it all. I did have a moment just earlier when you were talking about her computer programming stuff and talking about time in a fourth dimension of like if this is if the Black Mirror franchise is about to go Cloverfield on me and this shit's Bandersnatch too, like everything's a secret Black Mirror.
Everything's a secret Black Mirror episode. And yeah, and then the ending I thought was actually pretty good too, where they think that they have the bug figured out, but there's one final test at the end where they are in they actually bring in separate realities,
Right.
and they have to merge together and like they have to fix it on their own because they've done it together, but now they have to. It's not about saving themselves anymore; it's about saving each other. And if it was about saving themselves, I'm not sure if they would have been able to do it. But because it's the other person, and they've grown to like this other person so much that like they're like, no, I need to go save. And there's no hesitancy on either side. That's like, no, I got to go save my friend.
Right.
It's very important. I got to go save them.
And these
Like,
weren't people
almost-
who were friends like that before. Not with each other, but I mean, they weren't friends to other people like that before. Like
No, they
he
almost
was
had
closed
no
off.
connection
Yeah,
in their
she
lives
was
that
closed
was like
off from
this.
her friends. Her friends had thrown her this big party, but she only ever spoke to like 2 people in it. Yeah, and both of these people found that connection. I really, the more and more I thought about it after the show, I'm very excited to see what they do for a season 2. Knowing like I like that ending, especially knowing that they're going to deepen it or do something further. But or at least even if it starts with a separate set of people, like explore this same rule set applied to another life until we see it a little more clearly. But I like the message of the show. Like, it's not about, using a time loop to repetitively stalk someone who's really only met you for the first time today. It's about these characters, like, getting enough chances to, like, see their shit and deepen their connections to others and themselves.
What I also loved about it was how much they learned from each other by the end of it. Because
Yeah.
you notice the way they save each other is they have to think like the other person.
Right.
Yeah,
Because that's
even
how,
when they go ahead.
like when Natasha Lyonne, she's like, oh no, I have to go. She has to be emotional and open in order to save him from himself and to save him from hurting himself.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he has to use his knowledge of the previous day to analytically, like, okay, I got my phone here. I can take the picture. I can send the picture to my ex-fiance and tell him, like, oh, your new boyfriend's here with this person to try and get them out of there because that's what causes the car accident.
Yeah.
And he has to get all analytical about it to the point where they meet at the same point. And I just thought would have been, they both start in front of a mirror because it's
Yeah.
all reflective. And I don't know. There was a lot of it that just like feels really powerful and meaningful and like just kind of special. Like there was something magical about those two people meeting and setting, like, by the point where they did become friends, it set the world right. Like,
Well, I love too because like Nadia gets what's happening pretty damn quick, where she's just like, "Oh no, I got it. I know what's happening here. We're
Yeah.
in time loop. Got it." And then Alan's just like does not even like the very final loop. He like it takes a while for him to figure out what's
Yeah.
happening.
yeah.
And it's like, come on, guys. There's a
He's
time.
a little.
clock here.
He gets it eventually.
He does.
It's fine. He's just a little slower on the uptake.
I really
I love the gag with the stairs. I love
Oh
how
God,
many
when
times
and then
dies
she's
on the
totally freaked
stairs.
out by him. Yeah,
And like Alan doesn't die by stairs like ever.
Like, no, I never dive like stairs. Oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
We're all fucking with me. I see how it is.
I was really impressed that the first time that they end up in different realities on their loops, and then like she runs in and realizes that this is Alan, but not the Alan she knows. That there's still no hesitancy, and on his part as well. Like a little bit, but like only because they're, I don't know you, get away from me, weirdo. But that they both keep pressing of like, okay, I don't care that you're not my person. Like it.
Yeah, there's no
it didn't-
guarantee
it
that
didn't
this is going to work
just-
and that they're going to merge together.
didn't
As
just
far as
move
they know,
those
they're just going to
mirror-
save this
yeah.
person and they're going to be a stranger.
Yeah.
But that doesn't.
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't
still
matter to
working.
them. It's
Yeah,
like, no, I have to
it's-
save you.
It would.
So it's further than just turning it from this mirror staring narcissisty kind of person to them caring about like, well, I'll grudgingly care about this one other person because it directly relates to me, but they are still willing to care about this other person even if it's not really their person.
Right.
And it really
It's like a final ultimate test of
yes,
their
exactly
empathy.
exactly.
And like that was this, and they passed with like flying colors.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Even they're given hurdles, and they're still like, "No, I will get through this."
I don't know. There was something about it that just really struck true to me.
It's
like,
Yeah.
it's just a really. It's not a nice story, but the message is definitely nice.
I mean, it's sad,
Mm-hmm.
but yet it's sad in that way that like is kind of like it's sad in like a real world way
Mm.
of like, things aren't going to work out, especially. But if you look close enough,
You still
there are
got
people
friends,
that are
yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
It's very Hallmarkish, I guess.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I
Not corny as the way, but just kind of like the same idea.
don't know. I felt really
Events might
good
suck,
after
but
watching it. I guess.
you'll have people with you. Yeah. Melancholy. Like it wasn't a sad ending, but it was a little bittersweet. But
Right.
it's not the ending. I'm looking forward to more
I'm
of this show.
very interested to see what a season 2 is going to
Yeah.
be like.
Yeah, I hope
Actually
they
have
keep.
season 2.
I know they probably won't, but I fucking love Harry Nilsson, and so I'm a sucker for the song they started with. Like, "Gotta Get Up" is a great song.
Gotta get up.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that musician, for Harry Nilsson, and so when it started, I was like, "Yay, good pick!"
Every Groundhog's Day has their song. With Happy
Yep.
Death Day, it was 50 Cent's. What was
Yep.
it? Some like party song, I think.
Yeah, is that in the club? Yeah.
Also, I did see. Did I talk about Happy Death Day too?
No, and I'm gonna go see it I'm trying to go see it this week.
Yeah, I just saw it. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, Jason Blum from Blumhouse, like, I think posted something on Twitter of like, wow, that was a bittersweet lesson to learn of like the taking in the criticism about how many people really didn't like that movie. Like, I guess there were a lot of people that felt it was not a horror movie, but just a slapstick comedy. And I'm like, well, I'm fine with that. That's okay.
No, they do the only thing they can with it, which is make it a straight up comedy. There's almost no horror elements left in it because there's just not a lot. Like the character knows that there's not a lot of stakes in it.
I can't imagine if Bill Murray woke up 10 years into a marriage to Andie MacDowell and was back in that fucking hotel.
Fuck you! Like, I love how mad she is too. Like she's so mad the entire time. Like you gotta be fucking
I'm excited.
kidding
We can definitely. I'll let you know when I see that. We can definitely chat that one.
Yeah, let's definitely chat that one up because I bet you'll like it. I think it's definitely there for you.
But overall, I dug Russian Doll, and definitely more than Seven in Heaven. But I'm not looking forward to a Seven in Heaven sequel unless they are going to do some explaining. Netflix has been
killing it lately. Like Netflix has had Russian Doll, Umbrella Academy. We just watched Kingdom, which was pretty kick-ass.
Kingdom was awesome.
Okay.
Which is the Korean zombie movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen
zombie
that.
show, I should say. I feel like that was missing something from Netflix too. It was recent.
I just started something called The Order. I'm not entirely sold on it yet. It's got
I just
Todd
saw that on my queue. Speaking of Netflix,
Sam from True Blood, and I think it's Todd from The Magicians is the RA in the dorm. But yeah, it's werewolves versus magicians in college. It's a little magicians-y.
Sure.
I don't know. I will see where it goes.
I mean, hopefully it's got a better moral than Magicians. That moral was like, magic sucks and everyone should die.
If you had told me early on that Mario would be my favorite character on The Magicians, I would not have believed you. but I like High
Should
Queen
I start
Margot.
watching The Magicians?
No.
Yes.
No.
I would say yes, but then again, I've recommended Seven in Heaven
You're not
to
going to
you.
like it.
I'm not going to like it.
You're not going to like it.
Travis
may know your level of what you're going to want on that.
Like, it's very, like, it is a hairbreadth away from me on the CW.
Oh.
Like, a hair's breadth.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's another story. Like, did you guys hear? Arrow is canceled.
What?
Yes,
Arrow is done.
How did I not see this?
They're going to wrap it up, which good. I mean, how much more dark can, like, stop fucking with these people.
Which means finally that after 7 seasons of Arrow, I think, we have 2 good ones. Yay!
And I think that's going to hopefully open up a space for Batwoman to be their grimdark anchor to Flash and Legends, like sliding scale of Goofy.
Right. I think that, hopefully it opens up the door for something else. Like, I do like the idea of the shared TV universe, but I got to admit, the only thing I'm still watching is fucking Legends. Like,
I'm still watching Flash, but it's not as fun. I'm really waiting for Legends to come back. Legends up to Meow Meow just set a new bar. I don't know if it was low or high, but it was a bar.
Yeah, I just finally got caught up too. I watched the one where they fight a possessed Chucky doll. It was a
hell
possessed
yeah!
doll. I was just like, yeah, I'm into this.
Yes, yeah. And when Carrie's nipple gets torn off, it's just great.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Unicorn tore off my nipple. Oh, good show.
But as far as that goes, I'm also looking forward to season 2 of Happy Town, The Good Die Young, where we covered Happy Town.
Yes,
if they would be interested in seeing some of your previous Middleman season, where can they find you, Les, on the internet and all your good content and stuff?
TheGoodDieYoungTV.com is where season 1 covering the Middleman is. You can also catch me on thetvdudes.com. Where we just generally talk about some of the same things I get to come over here and talk about. So if you want to hear me talk again about Russian Doll, right after I saw it, you can hear that at TV Dudes. And then I would recommend coming over here because, it really did kind of marinate for a few weeks, and I like it more and more the longer it's set.
Mm-hmm. No, I've had shows do that before. When you get to just the time to think about them, and you're kind of like, you know what, I think it was even better than I first thought it was.
Because sometimes you have an expectation of where it's going to go, and it doesn't, and you are irritated in the moment about that. But then, like, the longer you sit with it, you're like, no, I like where you did go is separate from my preconception of where I wanted you to go. This restaurant was great. I'm glad we didn't go to McDonald's, like I said.
I had that same thing with Chuck for whatever reason. As I was watching Chuck, I'm like, this is okay. I'm not sure if this is as good as everyone says it is. But then after I was watching, I'm like, I've kind of felt myself kind of wanting to go, like, you know what? I kind of want to go back and watch some of the seasons of Chuck. Like,
Well, you
I
can
don't know
see
why,
Gary Cole.
I don't know why, retroactively, I've grown more fond of it. It's just odd.
Yeah. Not a great theme song.
But yeah, if you'd like to check out some of our previous episodes where we've had Les on, you can, definitely check that out. We've had him on before talking about a bunch of crazy
A whole
shit.
series of fantastic movies that everyone should go out and see right now.
Mm-hmm. We would
Ignore
love
the
to have
Mr.
you on for
Burns
another
style
Netflix
laugh,
and Kill if you'd like to pick on something on Netflix that has a kill in it or something.
Yes,
Like-
yeah. Did anybody? I guess when you said that earlier, I was trying to think oh shit, I'm not sure if the math works out. Did anyone really die in Seven in Heaven?
I could see an
anyone
argument
really
either way.
did.
I don't know.
I don't think anyone
we saw
was-
the dad get hit by a deer, and we know in a reality he's dead. So, transit
Maybe.
property, yes.
I think he's already dead, though.
It has
so
it's like a Road to El Dorado level of Netflix and Kill at best.
No, someone definitively dies in Road to El Dorado. That pudgy guy definitely got kicked in.
Definitely got killed. Yes, I had forgotten there was a death until I heard y'all do that episode.
Everyone does. No one remembers that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is lost to henchman heaven.
Right.
He just yeah, definitely check us out for next week for Netflix Kill. We're doing Car Month for March. It's gonna be Carmageddon. You can check me out on I think I'm up next week on Mike Moody's podcast Create Pod.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think I'm up on the next one for Niche TV covering podcasts and stuff, talking about Pod Against Evil and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's gonna be it for us, guys. Until next week, you're at Apology Geek Out, and we're out.